morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a really rather lovely new Mewtwo and Mew deck. Now, the thing about Mewtwo and Mew is Mewtwo and Mew has been good for a while. There's nothing particularly exciting about Mewtwo and Mew at this stage. We've seen Mewtwo and Mew for a while. It's a good deck. We all know it's a good deck. Everybody knows Mewtwo and Mew is a good deck. The difference here is that we're now playing it with Bronzong. Now, it's only been a couple of days since I showed you a winning Corviknight deck. And Corviknight, of course, very much revolves around the new Bronzong. But I'll tell you something for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like Bronzong might just be one of the very best cards in the game. It seems like Bronzong might actually be starting to transform the game, and things are early, and the tournaments we're looking at the moment are inevitably fairly small tournaments, because of the whole big tournaments literally aren't running. But I'll tell you something for nothing, it really is beginning to look like Bronzong might be a little bit of a powerhouse. Now, shout out to the lovely Talonite X for hooking us up with a winning deck list here, shared by people over on Twitter, over in Japan, etc. And I suppose we should start, as we often do, with the main Pokemon, which is Mewtwo and Mew here, and we like Mewtwo and Mew. It's been a good one for a while. So Mewtwo and Mew here has got the Perfection ability that allows it to use the attack of any Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX on your bench or in your discard pile. And essentially what you do here is just give yourself options. Allow yourself to use a huge variety of different attackers to give you the best option for any particular matchup. Sounds quite good. It does have a GX attack here. It is free energy, 200 damage. But if you've got a 4th energy on there, you heal all damage from all of your Pokemon. And to be fair, you are playing Aurora energy here. And so, you know what? Sometimes this will actually work. You will actually get this rolling. Go team, ladies and gentlemen. Go team. So then the question becomes, what are you actually attacking with? Well, the answer is a whole bunch of different stuff. But we should probably have a quick look at Bronzong. Bronzong is exactly the same as Aromatisse and Hydreigon before it, but it's for metal energy. So Hydreigon let you move your darkness energy around as much as you want, and Aromatisse let you move your fairy energy around as much as you want. Well, Bronzong lets you move your metal energy around as much as you want. Do remember it is metal energy, not basic metal energy, so that means that you absolutely here can move Aurora energy using this. When Aurora energy is attached to a Pokemon, it counts as a metal energy, which means that you can move it around, even though you can then use it to attack as a non-metal energy. And the thing is here, we need Aurora energy. Aurora energy becomes really important because we just don't have many good metal attackers. Now, obviously, we do have Zacian here. We play a few Zacian. Partly it's a good attacker, free energy 230, but partly it's got Intrepid Sword. You draw 3 cards, your turn ends, but any metal energy you drew, you then get to attach to that Pokemon. And then, of course, that's important because you can move it where you want, using a bit of the old Bronzong. But that's not being copied with Mewtwo and Mew, that's just using it as a Zacian Bronzong deck. In terms of actual metal attackers, we've only really got the one here. We've got Lucario and Melmetal. Remember, that's the one with the GX attack that lets you, well, essentially says that for the rest of the game, your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. All your metal Pokemon, metal only. And if there's a second energy on there, you get to discard all energy from your opponent's active. The big difference in this deck as opposed to your regular Luke Metal decks, of course, is that you don't put 2 energy on a Lucario and Melmetal and then everybody knows what you're planning. You sit there using a bunch of other attacks, and then at any point, if your opponent's got too much energy on, it all goes away. We also do see one Zamazenta here. Again, we're not copying Zamazenta using Mewtwo and Mew, but Zamazenta's got that ability that makes it not take damage from Pokemon VMAXs And Pokemon VMAXs like Eternatus are a big part of the metagame right now. So obviously you're going to play one copy here of Zamazenta. And then we've got a few Pokemon that we're kind of fudging a little bit because they're not really metal Pokemon. One of which is Arceus and Dialga and Palkia. Now, this might seem like a slightly weird inclusion here, but the fact of the matter is, ADP has still got an amazing GX attack, 1 metal, 1 water energy, and for the rest of the game, you do an extra 30 damage on all your attacks, and you take an extra prize every time you take a KO. Well, we're mucking around with metal energy, and we're playing Aurora energy, and we've got the option to move our energy around with Bronzong. It's easier to accelerate with Zacian, etc. So if you go first, an Intrepid Sword and hit an energy, then next turn you just Aurora energy, Bronzong, boom. Altered Creation. And all of a sudden, Altered Creation becomes an option for Mewtwo and Mew in a way that it really just wasn't before, which is kind of nuts. We do see Espeon and Deoxys coming in here. That's another one which is surprisingly good. 1 Psychic, 2 Colorless Energy, 10 damage plus 30 more for each of your bent Psychic Pokemon. Probably fair to say that's not going to get lots of play here. But for the same attack cost, 2 Metal, 1 Aurora, perfectly payable. Put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. If you've got 3 extra energy, so that's 5 Metal, 1 Aurora, you get to place 20 damage counters anywhere you like. It's not going to be great for every matchup, but if your opponent's playing lots of little Pokemon, I don't know, maybe Mad Party? All of a sudden, this becomes a phenomenal attack. And what you can do here is you can spread your energy around so that you're not giving it all up. That is obviously one of the big downsides of Mewtwo and Mew generally. If you get KO'd, you lose all your energy, and you just move the energy over as and when you need it. Vileplume GX comes back here as a really great option, because for 2 energy, 1 Aurora, 1 Metal, you do 180 damage, minus 10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So before you're damaged, this is great. Or if you switch into a fresh Mewtwo and Mew and move the energy over with Bronzong, it becomes awesome. And it really is Bronzong opening up all of these really good options here. It is Bronzong meaning you can switch to a new Mewtwo and Mew, knowing that you've then got this attack just there ready to go. And then we've got a Pokemon we see a lot in these kind of decks. It's Naganadel GX, the second one, because obviously the first one went and rotated out. A Naganadel GX for 4 energy, but again, 3 of them can be metal. You discard 2 energy and do 170 to one of your opponent's bench. Really good for finishing off Pokemon, also great for taking out bench to Dene for 2 prizes. So there's a lot of reliance here on Aurora energy, but we've got an awful lot of options, or we can just play it as a Zacian deck. Either way, we're looking good. Because remember, we've got Lucario and Melmetal, and we've got ADP, so you can use either of them as we go along here. Outside of that, we've got 3 Dedenne and 1 Crobat for draw. Crobat draws until you've got 6 cards in your hand. Dedenne discards your hand and draws 6 cards. They help you get going. Now, in terms of energy, I've already mentioned it's a mostly metal energy deck. That's the whole point for Bronzong. But we then do have 4 Aurora energy here because they help you to pay the attacks and they can be moved around with Bronzong. So it sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. Now, in terms of Pokemon Search here, we've got 4 Quick Ball, which should be a given because of the whole it searches your basics thing. We've then got 4 Cherish Ball because this really is a very GX heavy deck. Yes, you've got your Zacian, but it's still a very GX heavy deck. And we've then got 3 copies of Great Ball, lets you grab a Pokemon from the top 7 cards of your deck. And because we're playing all of these balls, we are actually playing Ball Guy here. I know, we're actually playing Ball Guy. Lets you search your deck for 3 cards with Ball in the name that have different names. So 1 Quick Ball, 1 Cherish Ball, 1 Great Ball. It totally works here. Outside of that, in terms of supporters, we've got Professor's Research. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. And then, of course, we've got Marnie, which forces both players to shuffle their hand and put it on the bottom of their deck. And then you get 5 cards, your opponent gets 4. assuming you played it, otherwise it's the other way round. And then of course we've got Boss's Orders to drag Pokemon from the bench to the active, allowing you to attack whatever you like. We've not got much room for stadiums here, so our stadium of choice is Chaotic Swell. It's a counter stadium. If your opponent plays a stadium to replace it, that stadium immediately gets discarded, so essentially you use this to counter 2 stadiums rather than 1. One when you replace a stadium, and one when your opponent tries to play a stadium and it gets discarded. Which is kind of fun for you, not your opponent. Obviously, Metal Saucer becomes huge in this deck, lets you attach a Metal Energy from your discard to one of your bench Metal Pokemon, then you can move it around using Bronzong, so yes, obviously that's absolutely huge here. And then it's just switching cards. We've got 1 copy of Switch, which just switches your active. We've got 2 copies of Escape Rope that switches your active and forces your opponent to switch, and 2 copies of Air Balloon, which reduces the retreat cost of your Pokemon by 2. But all your relevant ones other than Bronzong will be got here, so yeah, we're feeling pretty good about it, honestly. I like this deck. This is not one that I had on my mind. It wasn't one that was really on my radar. But if you look at it, it makes so much sense. You can play Mewtwo and Mew with ADP. Or you can play Zacian ADP. Or you can play Zacian with Lucario and Melmetal. Or you can just ignore all of them and just play your standard Mewtwo and Mew deck, sniping with Naganadel, doing good damage for low energy with Vileplume, etc. It opens up so many options that you don't have either in a Zacian deck or in a Mewtwo and Mew deck. And honestly, this sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. I think this might be one to look out for, and honestly, I think we might have to start looking at Bronzong, just like all the other Pokemon that had this ability before it, as a potential best deck in the format. I don't think we've seen the last of Bronzong. But I'd like to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.